What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and welcome to the rapid reaction, the last episodes of The Last Dance. This was a fantastic docuseries of Michael Jordan and the 1997-1998 Chicago Bulls. What I really enjoyed about this was that they went back in time, and I've been wondering. I've not been really fond of going like back and forth from present day to past in TV shows or in other things. But I really did enjoy this one because I really do think they needed to let you know about everything that went on with Michael to understand him, understand the Bulls organization, where they were at when he was drafted in '84 to where they ended in '98, and what they were all about. And I thought this did that beautifully. All 10 episodes were just extraordinary. They really were. And tonight, the final two happened, 9 and 10. And it was some really good stuff. We started off talking about the Eastern Conference Finals from the '98 series. It pushed the Bulls to the limit. It was the first time since the 1992 playoffs, when the Bulls beat the Knicks in 7 games, that at least with Michael Jordan, they did go to 7 games in the '93-'94 year with the Knicks. But then the Knicks won. But that was Michael's first Game 7 since the Game 7 in the '92 playoffs against the Knicks. And it was a wild. The home team won every game. The one home team won every game, and it was a really, really fantastic, good stuff there from everything and everyone. I is that Game 7 in Indiana was something where a lot of us thought in Chicago, a lot of us thought they they could lose here, and they were down, but they made a comeback. And Reggie Miller, he talks about in the docuseries, he says, if Steve Kerr doesn't hit a 3, I think we can go down and take it up to 5, that we can win. And I think that was it. Hold on 1 second. All right, let's continue. So I was really thinking about that Game 7, and so then once we went there, we talked about that. We went on to the NBA Finals with the Utah Jazz, and we discussed a lot of things. And during that, we went back in time to talk about Steve Kerr and get into Steve Kerr's past, because Steve Kerr plays a very prominent role. And actually, to be very honest with you, I think actually they went back. They actually did this before they went to the Game 7. And they talked about Steve Kerr and his backstory and everything that was going on with him. And it's something that I did not know, that his father, his father, his mother, and his brothers, they were over in Beirut doing being like the American stuff. He was like the head of the American university over there. And unfortunately, he was shot and killed by two men who pretended to be students. And Um, and that's a story I never heard of, and obviously that was in '84, and that was when I was only 2 years old in '84. So I was like, but I ain't never heard of it since, and it was unfortunate that would happen. And Steve got emotional talking about it, and his mother, who thankfully still alive, she had a good memory of it. And yes, and they just really just gave you this stuff about Steve and everything and what he was about, and what made him who he was. And then of course he hits the shot and against in the Pacers to kind of fuel the Bulls on to victory. And then they talk about him because then he has a prominent thing when they go into the '97 finals with the Jazz, Game 6. He hits the game winning shot to give the Bulls their fifth championship. And of course, they also show him at the rally when he says that he had to pick up Michael and everything like that. So yeah, Steve, he's always had a fantastic self-deprecating personality. So good on Steve for that. And it was a fun down memory lane. And so then they do that, and then we talk about that, but then we come back to '98. And actually, I think, to be honest with you, I actually think, I think I screwed all of that up, because I think what actually they did was that they did do it the way I said it the first time. They went back and they talked about, Steve, Steve Kerr, and then they went to the '97 finals. Then they jumped back to the Eastern Conference finals, and then Steve Kerr hits the shot. So that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's the way they do it. So, and then and most of the second one it was all about the NBA finals and against the Jazz, and the games they had. The Jazz takes game 1, Bulls take game 2. Game 3 is maybe the most interesting game you'd ever have, because the Bulls blow out the Utah Jazz by 42 points, 96 to 54. 54 points is the least amount of points a team has scored in a NBA game in the shot clock era, playoffs or regular season. I don't know. I don't think that. I don't think it's been broken either. I think that's in the shot clock era. That's the only points they scored is 54. Yikes! So it was a dominant, but all those games were close. The Bulls had a chance. The Bulls went up 3-1 with a chance to end it on their court in Game 5, but with Stockton and Malone, they handled their business, and they were truly against truly against two of the all-time greats, and they did their job, and they got it back to their home court. Which, by the way, one of the things I do take from this as well is the series they had. It was 2-3-2. I love that. They originally did 2-3-2 because back in the '80s it was basically the Lakers and the Celtics. The Lakers and the Celtics. One time it was the Lakers and the Sixers, but the Lakers and the Celtics all throughout the '80s. So instead of trying to get back, cross country, they had to just go to the higher seed would have 2 home games. Then they would have 2 home games to end it, and then there would be 3 home games in the middle for the other team. Um, now they don't do that because it's definitely a lot. Travel is a lot easier nowadays than it was back in the '80s. But I still miss it, the 2-3-2 way of doing it. I hope that I would like to see them bring that back. I really would. I think that's a good way to bring it back. The 2-3-2 during the finals. But yeah, so they had a chance to win Game 5 at home, and they couldn't get the job done. So they had to go back to Utah for Game 6, and you could tell they were all business. They were all business. They were just they were not ready to go. And in Game 6, Scottie Pippen has his he comes up lame and he has the back injury and. This is another thing, and you can't really take this away from you. Can't like blame Scotty for this, but again, he in Game 7 against the Pistons in 1990 Eastern Conference Finals, he gets a migraine, and now here we are, Game 6 of the Finals, he's got a back injury. He comes up playing that, and so. But listen, he pushed through it. He pushed through it, and he went out for the first half. Yes, he was. He was wobbling up and down that court. And but he set out the first half. He came back, and he was just basically a deep court. There's even at one point where Pippen steals the ball, and he I don't know who he throws it to, but you can see Rodman. Rodman's getting ready to do a Byron Leftwich. If you've ever seen that clip of the offensive lineman carrying Byron Leftwich down the field, after he throws a pass because he broke his leg. That's what Robin looked like. Robin looked like he was going to say, "Get on my back, Pip. Now I'll take you down to the court." That's how badly Pippen was hurt. But Pippen made it down the court, and he was a trooper to that. I think Scotty does get a bad rap about that, because of the migraine, because of that, because the 1.8 seconds, he gets a bit of a rap about that, but I think that's unfair to do so for Scotty. And it was a back and forth game, as most of these games were, and then it just came down to Michael. Michael, they're up 3 with 41 seconds left. Michael gets a quick bucket. They get down 1. They get down to the court, and I'm glad that they showed the play before, because it was basically the same play. They showed a play where Malone was on the block. He got the ball with Robin guarding him. He throws a pass to Stockton, and Stockton hits the 3. So then when Jordan scores that bucket, they come down, and they're going to do the same thing, except this time Michael stays behind, swipes the ball away from Malone, goes down to the court, does the thing with Russell, fade away, shot, bang, down the well, 1-point lead for the Bulls, and the rest is history. 6 championships in 8 years. How sweet it is for Michael Jordan in the Chicago Bulls. And we also got to see some stuff afterwards too. We get to see some of the stuff like all the Bulls fans waiting for him back at the team hotel, and then Michael Jordan's little after party where he's got some maybe I think he's got a few reporters, but he's probably got most of his friends around. I think, and Michael's just banging on the piano keys like he really knows how to play. Yeah. Yeah, for the longest time, people had say that he pushed off of Russell, and I'm glad they did show that Russell was already falling over that way. That and Bob Costas, great thing. That what Michael did was akin to the maitre d' putting a hand on the back, guiding you to your table. That's exactly the way it was. There was no push off. What was more of a push off was the Reggie Miller thing in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That was a push off, and that was smart on Reggie's part, by the way, as well, to even do that, to make the officials call that. I think that's something that more people maybe should to do in all sports. Make the official, in a tight game like that, make the official make the hard call. We can go back to the Rams Saints NFC Championship game. It was definitely pass interference, but the guy he made it. He was going after that receiver, and he's going to make sure that he didn't, that receiver didn't score an easy touchdown. So he ran him over, and he made the officials make a call that they didn't make. So, but anyway, it's they cleared it up. Some great access to the after the stuff. Great access to the the Grant Park celebration. And I think I was also very glad to see was Pippen giving Jerry Krause his due because listen, myself, and many other Chicagoans really we really did despise Jerry Krause for what he did and for the things that he said and for the things that happened. Um, but like Scotty says, when you think about it, he was the architect of these 6 championships. He was probably maybe the greatest general manager to ever, other than Jerry West. He was maybe the greatest general manager in the NBA history. And I was glad to see Scotty, especially Scotty. So I would have liked to maybe see Michael said, but but Scotty, he did. There was that thing back in early in the docu series where they talked about Scotty was really giving him the business on the bus, and doing one of the trips. So I'm glad to see Scotty actually say that. Yeah, Jerry was he was he was very prominent in these 6 championships. So again, because we had some more stuff. We talked. Jerry Reinsdorf gave this bullshit answer about not wanting to do um, the wanting to run it back for a 7th time. He talked about how Harper and Rodman and Steve Kerr and all of these guys, they were gonna they were gonna be worth more money than they could pay, and so they weren't gonna be able to do it or anything like that. And how he went to Phil Jackson and said asked Phil to come back, but Phil didn't want to come back for a rebuilding team, and it is bullshit. And this is one of these things that for those of you guys who are not Chicago fans and are not don't know a lot about Chicago or anything like that, the Chicago fans have a real love-hate relationship with Jerry Reinsdorf because as Bulls fans, he gave us 6 championships, but also he does run it very much like a business. He runs everything like a business. Now I am not a Sox fan. I am a Cubs fan, but Sox fans have a real thing with Jerry Reinsdorf as well because he's definitely run the Sox as if they are a small market team. They are in the third biggest city in the United States, and they act like a thing. They have never spent major money on a pitcher. They've never spent major money on a hitter. They have acted like a second class citizen. The White Sox fans, they get on the media in Chicago because the Cubs, love the losers, all like that. They would always get the press, even though the White Sox were, for the most part, for the longest time, or if they weren't a better team, they at least had a better season than the Cubs, right? But they never gave them their due. 75% of the fans in Chicago are Cubs fans. The other 25% are White Sox fans, right? So you have a 3-to-1 ratio there, or whatever the red ratio is of Cubs fans and White Sox fans. So the White Sox fans are really mad at at Jerry Reinsdorf for that. And then there's this thing where Jerry Reinsdorf he pissed off Bulls fans by saying he give away all of those 6 championships that the Bulls had for one White Sox championship, which he got anyway. And he didn't have to give away his 6 Bulls rings, and then he pissed off the Bulls fans because you know whether they are Cubs fans that don't like the Sox or they don't like basketball, they don't like baseball at all. You're gonna take away the 6 championships because you want to for one baseball ring. So Jerry Reinsdorf is love-hate relationship at the very least, and that was a silly comment to make because even Michael says it. You don't think that you say, and also let's not forget this is after too. Um, After '98, there was a lockout. The NBA, the owners locked out the players. So when they got through, it was going to be a shortened season. It would have been, I think it was like going to be like 50 games. So you mean to tell me that in a 50-game season, right? As Michael said, Bushman, Kerr, Harper, Rodman, himself, possibly Scottie Pippen, they wouldn't come back for one more season, try to win number 7 in a 50-game season? Yes, they would have. Yes, they would have. They would have taken less than their market value to do so. They would have, especially knowing that Pip Pip and Jordan were going to get their money. They would have done so. So let's not bullshit with that. But yeah, I thought this ended so good, and it was just the whole entire series was fantastic. I think the biggest things to come from this series, I think, is good, bad, and maybe the good, the bad, and the ugly, or whatever you want to call it. But I think you saw the drive, what drove Michael. Everything Michael took everything as a slight against him. From Jerry Krause making an innocuous comment about Dan Marley, loving Dan Marley because Dan Marley was a good defender. Okay, you think he's a good defender? Watch me tear his ass up. I mean, come on, Mike. George Carl, not saying hi to him at dinner. Oh, George, you North Carolina guys, you're not gonna say hi to me? I'm gonna tear your ass up. I mean, anything. We know about the story about the Bradford Smith story. It's just it's beautiful stuff to hear. He didn't say a damn thing to Michael, but he made up a story that he did say something to Michael just so he can go off the next night and drop 46 on him. Just some great stuff from Michael. I loved Michael's from the first episode with the cocaine circus to everything to him talking about Rodman, wanting to go off to Vegas for a little while or anything, and his the stuff with Isaiah and everything. He was very honest. I know there are still some people out there who think he's not being honest about the first retirement. But I know there's some people out there that think he's not being honest about um, the flu game, which we now know is now the food poisoning game. Um, some people think that's a hangover game. So some people that a lot of people thinking that he's hasn't been honest with his maybe a quote unquote gambling problem. But I actually think Michael's been very honest. Michael's been more open and honest than I've ever seen him. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't. He talks a lot. He doesn't talk a lot by himself. So uh, this was great stuff for me, from Michael opening it up. I love that again, like I said earlier, they went back in time to to each and every failure he had. Basically dominating the Celtics the way he did, in the 86 playoffs. Which, by the way, that was the season he was coming back from his ankle injury, and he leads his team basically to make the playoffs with a 30 with a 32 and 30 and 52 record. If you guys if for you guys watching, if I'm frozen, I apologize. I don't know why it's frozen on my end, so I don't know if it's frozen on your end or if you're actually seeing me, move around and stuff. So, but you can, at least if you can, but at least you can still hear me. So we can get that. At least hopefully you can. Um, but it's just, and then that was great. And then the stuff with the Pistons was always good. That was good to go back on and this stuff. Then they talked about the retirement. They talked about his without Scotty and him coming back. It went through everything, and I just really thought it was such well done, such good stuff, to talk about. Oh, and by the way, let me go back to '98 season when after the big 42-point win in Game 3, Rodman ditches practice to go to Auburn Hills, Michigan, and do his NWO Hollywood Hogan stuff. And I remember that. I remember that day. It was like Rodman was not at practice, and I'm a huge wrestling fan. For those of you guys who aren't new, who are watching this for the watching here at this channel for the first time, big huge wrestling fan. Always have been my whole life. So I was watching. I remember I was watching Nitro that night, and to see Hollywood Hogan come out, and he's pointing at the entrance, and here comes Dennis Rodman. I pointed. I said, "Mom, Mom." I remember saying, "Mom." Dennis Rodman's on Nitro. So I remember all of that. So that was good to go back in time and relive that as well. So this was great. This was a great story. This is now documentaries are going to have to, probably in particular sports documentaries in particular, they are going to have to something to live up to, because this cleared them all. This cleared them all. The best one I had seen was the OJ one, and they did that in parts, and they went back and forth for that one as well. They went they went all around. They not only did they tell the story of OJ, and they went back and do his whole life and did all of that. They also told the story of Los Angeles and the race stuff that was going on there at that time. That's a part of the story, and I think that's what this one is. This one was a part. Everything that they went back and told had to be told for the part of the story. Part for this document, so that when you get to the end and you know why things happen, they happen the way they happen, and it was just great, great stuff. Thank you to ESPN. Thank you to the producers, Jason Hare, the director. Thanks to Michael for pushing all of this up. This originally was going to happen during the NBA Finals in June. Obviously, there will be no NBA Finals as of right now. They might come back, but so no NBA Finals. So instead of waiting until June to still do it in June, they decided to give us this, give us this wonderful, joyous stuff. It is The Last Dance, and it was so fun to watch. It really was. I had such a great time watching it. I hope you guys out there did too. I hope you guys learned more about Michael, learned some of his, and listen, Michael said that he was worried that people would think differently of him coming out of this, coming out of this documentary. And I will say this. I think there are some people that might think that Michael was a bit of a bully. I think some people might think that Michael maybe, who knows, maybe they might think he may have a gambling problem. They might think that he is. I don't know. They do might think differently of him in a negative spot, but I think that if people do think differently of him, it will be in a positive way. That he was the greatest basketball player to ever live. He was the greatest athlete to ever live, and you see why he is. You see what he had to do. That he says winning is a price, and he paid that price. But he's the greatest of all time. And there's no one like him. There will never no one be like him. And that is a wonderful thing. It truly is. So yeah, this was great. These last 5 weeks were wonderful. And so now we go back to looking for stuff to watch. But listen, there's a lot of things happening right now. So we'll get some more stuff back on to watch. And I think some people will probably just continue to watch this over and over again. Just to watch and have fun with it. So, um, yeah, it's really good. All right. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Um, how did you guys enjoy 9 and 10? What did you guys think of the entire docu-series? What do you guys think? What was your favorite moment? I think my favorite moment has got to be the whole Scott Burrell. I mean, Scott Burrell took a beating in this series. He just took a beating, and Michael said he's the nicest guy in the world. But you should take took a beating. And the thing is that he just has like, you know, hey, you can talk about that shit now, ho. You understand that, there, Mike? Oh, but that was Mike. That was Mike. Uh, yeah, so really, really fun stuff. Make sure you go to patreon.com/AJ Trip and become a Patreon. Once I hit a number of patrons, we will open up the gates to where you can now decide what I do here on my YouTube channel, what I do on my podcast, what I talk about on my podcast, and what I play on my Twitch channel. So make sure you go to patreon.com/AJ Trip and become a patron. 3 different levels. All right, y'all. That's gonna be it for this evening. I want to thank uh, Jada Hasey, Alexander for stopping by. Thanks to everybody else for stopping by who didn't comment. Thanks for watching and who are stopping by later on and watching it. So yes, and listen to it because again, like I said, on my end the picture is stuck. So I don't know if the picture is stuck on your end, but you're still listening to me. And yes, I should also mention that more than likely you are listening to this on my podcast, right? So good. I'm going to take this and put this on my podcast as well. So yeah, it should be good. All right, y'all. This is your boy AJ Trip signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out. God bless Michael Jordan, the GOAT.